So in this, Tyler will take you through it as they go through.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, Freddie.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Very well.
Y'all look better if I'm back. Are you on me up
Request to record, please.
Yes.
Press my record? Oh, okay.
Tyler, you should be able to do that in the top right of their box.
Yep. No, we're good. Making my way down the list. Sorry, fellas. Oh, we already waited. Is everyone good? We good? Everyone got? I think we're good. Coach, thanks for taking the time. Y'all know the drill. Just raise your hand. I'll work my way down the list. Playing no favorites. So whoever has the thumbs up and at the top, we'll roll through there. So fire away. We will start with Jeremiah.
What's going on, Freddie? Jeremiah Holloway with Inside Carolina. Nice to meet you. Kamari Morales, earlier, he talked to us and he said that you made it clear to the tight end room that if you're not going to block, you're not going to play, essentially. What did you kind of make of the way that they played with physicality on Saturday against South Carolina?
I think that needs to become the constant, and that's not celebrated but expected. And that's the direction we're moving toward in that group. And hopefully that carries over to other areas. And, football's a tough game played by tough people. And it doesn't have to be in the run game. It can be in the pass game as well. The way you catch the ball, the way you run after catch, the way you go about your business every day is more of what, I want to get through and what these guys have accepted and kind of celebrated and kind of used as their mantra.
Andrew?
Hey, Coach, staying on the blocking, how has the group progressed since you got there, blocking in tight running situations and, as they call it, blocking down? In particular, Bryson, because last year we knew there was a little bit of something that Bryson was still kind of grinding hard on.
Well, I think it's an everyday process of getting better each and every day. We like to talk about, it being Tuesday football, Wednesday football. And during those days, we're trying to get better and we're worried about ourselves. So it's an ongoing process each and every day. They know how we're going to approach each practice. They know what's expected out of them. They know what's expected in between each play. And Bryson's not unlike the others. He's expected to do a job each and every play, and he's held accountable to that. And he's been doing a good job of trying to get that done and understanding his weaknesses and trying to focus on getting better with his weaknesses and then adding to his strengths, because each of those guys have strengths and weaknesses, and we're trying to get them all better.
I believe each of them was targeted 3 times the other night, and they had 3 receptions. Are you pleased with that kind of production and having it spread out among the 3 of them?
Yes, I am pleased that they were efficient with their production. But still in that, we could do some things that are better, and we're going to try to get better this week, or we are going to get better this week from that standpoint. But so much of, what we do is dictate, or as far as you guys seeing the production, is dictated on the opportunities. So we were fortunate enough to get those opportunities, and they did their job by taking advantage of those opportunities. So I don't really necessarily worry so much about the opportunities as what we do with the opportunities, and they were very efficient with that.
Thank you.
Adam?
Hey, Freddie. Good to talk to you again, as always.
You too, Adam.
Football's a tough game played by tough people, you said. And I wanted to ask you, just in terms of your approach this spring and this preseason, did you intentionally try to maybe ratchet up the toughness on your tight end group? Like maybe be purposefully hard on them just to get them ready for the way you guys want to play? It seemed like sometimes when we got in at the end of camp, you were kind of letting them have it a little bit out there on the, not in the indoor, but on the outdoor field. Was that like sort of a thing you tried to do?
I think the simple answer to that question would be no. But I think here's what I'd say to that. I don't like roller coasters. All right. I can't even, with a condition that I have, I can't even ride roller coasters anymore. So when you say you don't like roller coasters, I don't like people that are up and down. Okay. I want the same person every day. And for me to want the same person every day, I have to be the same person every day. So they're only going to get one thing with me. And everything I'm built around is knowing what to do, knowing how to do it, and knowing when to do it. And how we do it doesn't change. You could have a bad day at the office, but how you approach that day at the office is going to dictate your success rate at the end of the day. So that's constant. That's not being a roller coaster, ratcheting it up and all that. If you asked me if I was ratcheting it up on that day you saw me, I would say, what the hell was I doing earlier? Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to be the same person every day. I think the guys that I coach know that. And I want them to be the same person every day because I'm going to expect it out of myself. I'm going to expect it from them.
I mean, I have to ask you, why can you not ride roller coasters anymore? What happened?
I have a genetic disorder called Loeys-Dietz. You have to research that. It's Loeys-Dietz. All right. And that's the reason I had the aortic dissection back in 10 years ago this year. So one of the things that you try to avoid if you have that condition is roller coasters and severe impacts and stuff like that. I don't know how the hell I got through,
Right.
until I was 24 years old. But anyways, I was very lucky and fortunate. But I was being a little facetious and about the roller coaster, but I really don't ride them anymore.
Very good. Thank you.
Luciano?
Hey, Coach. Hope you're doing well, and thanks for your time. Do you feel like Tess and Nate not being available has been a motivating factor for this tight end room, and how would you say that has worked for them?
Who's not been available?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Tess Walker and Nate McCollum.
I don't think so. We've had guys that filled in last week. We're very versatile from the standpoint of we've got guys in our tight end room that can play different spots and different positions, really all over the field. And so we feel real fortunate with that. And but of course, we'd love to see what it looks like with Tez on the field, because somebody of Tez's stature and the way he approaches the game and plays the game and the ability to make big plays and catch the football and run after catch and get down the field and throw the ball over people's heads and things like that, of course, opens up and makes it a lot easier for other people. That's the one thing that, probably goes unnoticed a lot is how one player in particular, especially the stature of Tez, we've got a couple of them in the tight end room, how they affect other guys and the coverage that they get. So has it affected us? I'm sure it's affected us, but hopefully it affects us even better when we get him back.
Michael?
Hey there, Coach. Whenever Mac talks about you or references you, he always goes back to your NFL experience and how much experience you had in the league. How have you seen that time in your life has helped you coaching college kids here at UNC?
I think ultimately we're in a people business. In the National Football League, just as in college, you deal with different personalities, you deal with different backgrounds. I've had a different background than most coaches. So I think, part of coaching is getting the best out of each individual player as a person and as a player. And I think just building on that experience, because, you're with these guys for 4 years, sometimes earlier than that, but the roster turnover in the National Football League, in 4 years, you may go through, if you're coaching quarterbacks, you may go through 12 guys, maybe not your starter, but the second or third team guy. So it's just building on the experience of learning new people, getting to know people and knowing how they respond and stuff like that is probably the biggest benefit. All the other stuff is just, coaching football, nothing changes from that standpoint. Trying to get these guys to do what they're supposed to do, when they're supposed to do it, and how they're supposed to do it. None of that changes. And coaching any position in football, I think you have to do it with a tough-minded mindset. And whether it be quarterbacks, running back, receiver, everything, like I said, it's a tough game played by tough people.
Thanks.
Andrew?
Hey, Coach, Mac has said several times over the last month or so that he thinks this is the best staff that he's assembled in his career, from a range of experiences standpoint, the kind of success that all of you have had, and really importantly, the communication, the way that you guys are able to kind of work with each other. Given your range of experiences, what have you seen from this staff, and can you back up what he's saying and maybe add something to it that makes this staff one of the best or the best that Mac has put together?
I would, first and foremost, I would say that me personally, you judge a staff on how they work together first. Does the offense help the defense? Does the defense help the offense? Does the offense and defense help special teams? And I think this staff does an excellent job of doing that. I know from experience that some of the downfalls that I've seen has been missing. And I don't think he has that here. I think we do a good job of working together with each other. And I'm pretty sure that that's probably what he's talking about. You know, there's a lot of people out there. And then just to add to that, there's a lot of people in our business that has a lot of knowledge, but it really ultimately comes down to what can you teach? What can you teach them how to do it successfully? And then what they can handle. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, on Saturday night at 11:30, you're going to judge yourself on how much did you have in? Did they operate it properly? Did they execute it? And were you successful at that execution? Because ultimately that's going to determine whether you win or lose. I don't care who you're playing. And I think we've worked hard as a staff to kind of get to that point. And then you factor in that offense, I think, helps defense helps offense, and both of them helps the special teams. You've got a lot of positives going on there.
Thank you.
I hope that answers your question, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Thank you.
Adam?
Freddie, sort of along those lines, I believe it was what 2005 was your last time. I know you did the analyst role last year at South Carolina, but I think 2005 was the last time you were a college coach, full on.
Don't shortchange my analyst role now. I mean, goodness.
I don't mean to. It sounds
what about you? No, go ahead.
But are you? I understand that we just passed Labor Day, but I mean, are you having fun doing this again? Maybe the college aspect of coaching football, as opposed to, I don't mean to make the NFL sound bad, but have you been, I don't know, reinvigorated in some ways? And obviously all the experience you've gained since the last time you were at, I think it was Mississippi State. What kind of different coach do you think you are since then, since you were in the college game?
I'm glad you asked that, Adam. I would say this. I don't know if reinvigorated is the right term, but I would say this. I got into the coaching profession because of guys that coached me in college football. All right. And some of them that are familiar to these parts, not necessarily North Carolina, but I've got a lot of friends in this business that I really look up to. And not just as a coach, but as a person. So they made a positive impact on my life 25 years ago. I never wanted to coach, but I wanted that aspect of it. And then I got into coaching, and hell, I loved it. All right. So in saying that, I think sometimes in the National Football League, you lose that aspect of things. I'm very close with some players that I coached, very close. But I know this. I know that I can make an impact on kids from a football standpoint, from a life standpoint, and just as a person standpoint, more easy in college football than I can here, because you get more opportunity to be with them. All right. So that's ultimately why I got into coaching. So when I had the opportunity to first of all, take the opportunity at South Carolina last year, I did it to decide if that's what I wanted to do. And then once I decided that's what I wanted to do, I was looking for the best opportunity. And I was so fortunate that this opportunity came available. I called Coach Brown immediately, and it happened. So I'm very fortunate. I'm the luckiest man in the world to have done what I've done for this many years. which I say this many years, hell, I ain't hit 50 yet. So Adam, so don't smirk on me. All right. But, you know, I'm really the luckiest man in the world I coach football for a living. I get to try to have a positive impact on people's lives, just as though other coaches made a positive impact on mine. Hopefully that answers your question. It's a long-winded answer, but maybe have to splice
smiling. I was smiling. I was not smirking.
Okay. You know the difference?
I don't know. Is there?
Smirking is actually defined as a smile in a condescending nature.
Right. Negative connotation on smirk. Yes.
Yeah. So you get more than just.
Adam never smirks.
Freddie, citing the NFL experience one more time, just for this reason, some of the tight ends have said that you've pulled up film and tape from some of the tight ends that you've coached and been around in the NFL. When you're doing that, and when you're bringing in, I think they said Jason Witten and David Njoku, what are some of the things that you're wanting them to gain from that film, and what are some of the things that you're wanting them to pick up on when you're showing it?
Well, more of it's just like a route that we have something similar to, just showing them how sometimes it's easier. I mean, I haven't ran many routes in the last 15, 20 years. So if I can give them an example of what the route should look like, would be more than anything. But, I think it gives you some credibility and some validity to when you say things and try to teach things that you can pull up and you can show what you're teaching, and David Njoku does it, or you can show, or Jason Witten does it, Leonard Pope does it, Evan Ingram does it. Like all these guys do it that I've coached from that position. And, you'd be surprised to find what the other positions that want to come in and look at some tape of, Adrian Peterson or Chris Johnson or Saquon or stuff like that. So, that's very advantageous that I've been a lucky man that I've had the ability, or not the ability, but I've had the opportunity to be around some of the best players in the business at their respective positions.
And just going off of that as a follow-up, I imagine obviously, at the, ACC level, a lot of the guys in that tight end room, and even if you want to bring in the running back room, have next level aspirations to kind of get to the pros. What are some of the advice, when they come to you, that you give them as far as, what it takes here at the college level to get there, and just, how to maybe, I don't know, conduct themselves in the NFL, but just what's some of the advice that you give them when they come up to you?
That may be the easiest question that you've asked, you guys have asked, because it's very simple. And it's kind of like my motto in our room is just stay where your feet are and get better today. And it's one rep at a time. It's not even one day at a time. It's like smaller than that. It's like this rep, it pertains to me. I'm in there to take this rep. So I've got to get better at this rep. And then you keep stacking those reps, they turn into days, and the days turns into weeks. And then you look up 5 weeks from now, you're better than you are today. And if you continue to do that enough and you've got the ability, then you'll get that opportunity. We're striving to be elite, okay, individually and collectively in our room. And don't pat yourself on the back for being good or great. All right, because that's what God gave you. We want to be elite. Now it takes all the intangibles to get you there, to get you over that point. And, that's just what we try to preach in our room.
Luciano?
Coach, how surprised were you by British Brooks having the kind of game he had after missing all of last season, and what have you seen out of him?
Wasn't very surprised at all. Was happy as hell for him, but wasn't surprised. I've seen British work every day. You would not have known he'd have had that last year unless you knew some history about last year. He's worked his tail off ever since I've been here in the spring. So was not surprised at all, and really glad he's on our team.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
2 more. Adam?
Freddie, as you know, a lot of people have things to say on the internet.
Really?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we have to pay a lot of attention to that in our nerdy business. But we were talking to Kamen Rucker the other night in Charlotte and he obviously played like a monster. And one of the things he told us was that he felt like that the defensive line for UNC had a good read or a good tell. Maybe the South Carolina offensive line was tipping their hands with some of foot placement or whatever. And the internet has taken this to mean that you told Kamen and all these guys all the secrets about the Gamecocks. So I don't know if were you able to give any sort of pointers of what to look for? Or is that something that is completely baseless?
That's I would say this. That's not unique to any other team. If we were to get something, it wouldn't be because I was there. We're not sitting there selling signals like they do in baseball and all that kind of stuff. So it's if we get something, it's because Ruck and the rest of the D line notices something during the game. It's like that's kind of giving me a little bit too much credit, I think.
Sometimes we have to ask.
Well, I got you. We can definitely tell well, yeah. I'll leave it at that.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. Noah, finish us off.
Hey, Adam. I work for the University of Carolina.
Hey, Coach, Noah Monroe from the Daily Tar Heel. Obviously, you have some NFL experience under your belt. One of my favorite offenses is, the Patriots when they had that double-headed monster of Gronkowski and Hernandez in the tight end spot. With 3 great tight ends, what do you imagine the potential of the offense can be and how involved the tight end room can get?
Well, I think so much of a season is how the season evolves. It necessarily doesn't really – it starts one way, and then by the end of the year, it may look totally different. So I think a week-to-week nature dictates on what that looks like. Of course, injuries are always factored in. Availability of other players at other positions are factored in. And what's the strength of their defense? Because sometimes you want to attack strengths and sometimes you want to attack weaknesses. So so much of that dictated week to week. I don't think you can just say it's set in stone. I think more in NFL, it's kind of a cookie cutter kind of thing. So this is going to happen here, but a lot of times who the better players are, so that's who's getting the ball. So that's smart coaching, right? Is getting the best players the ball. So it's not unlike that here than any other place. We're trying to get our best players the ball, or the guys that are at least going to be productive in the fact when they get the ball.
Awesome.
Adam, I don't know if you heard this, but I work for UNC now. All right. And I love it.
Sometimes I have to ask questions that I really do not want to ask. But
off the record, we may have a little bit more to say about like really not caring about anybody else other than UNC. All right.
I appreciate you, Freddie.
I appreciate you guys, man. Hey, are you from Italy?
Thanks, Freddie.
Luciano, are you from Italy?
No, Argentina, actually.
Argentina. Really?
Yes, sir.
What are your parents? Argentinian?
Yeah, they are from Argentina. I do have Italian relatives, though.
Do you? I spent 4 months in Milan. So a good friend of mine his name is Luciano. That's the reason why I was asking.
Okay. My family is from the south, though, not from the north.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man.
That's nice. That's nice.
Good talking to you guys.
Thanks, Coach.